Today's webinar. My name is Charlie Castro. I'm the Director of Business Development for MD Live. I want to thank you for being on here today. I'm just going to go. I'm going to go through a very quick PowerPoint today. This PowerPoint is generally what I do when I'm presenting to a HR director or a decision maker within a company. And so what you're about to see is a webinar that's designed for the end buyer or the client. This is meant, the purpose of today, I'm recording this today for specifically some potential sales agents that wish to possibly market the MD Live service. And so I'm going to give you as much information as I can, both from a business perspective as well as a sales perspective with regards to MD Live and how you market it, who you're marketing it to. So with that, I just want to get started. So what is MD Live? MD Live is a privately held Florida-based healthcare technology company. We provide 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day access to on-demand access to convenient, affordable care. We do that through a doctor's network, a network of highly qualified, state-licensed and board-certified physicians and therapists. It's available by telephone, secure video, or email. In other words, you can see a doctor in a face-to-face encounter over the internet, or if you're more comfortable just using the old-fashioned telephone line, you can talk to a doctor over the telephone or secured email. The MD Live Vault is the personal health manager. I'm not going to give a demo on that today, but if you'd like to see a demo of what the actual personal health manager looks like, it's just a back office where an employee for a company, for example, can go to do all kinds of things with regards to managing their health, including keeping records of their encounters with the physicians either over the telephone or over the internet. We do prescribe prescriptions. Yes, you can have your prescription called into your pharmacy. The doctor will do that. He will email directly to the pharmacy that you choose, and there's a methodology to that. But we can prescribe non-controlled substances. In other words, blood pressure medicine, an antibiotic. You get a cold, you need a Z-Pack, it's the middle of the night, you don't want to mess with the emergency room, you want to be able to get access to a doctor. You can just get up in the middle of the night, you don't feel well, see a doctor face-to-face, morning time, your prescription's already been emailed into your pharmacy, you can just pick that up. And then your health reference, symptom checker, and educational library. It is private, it is secure, it is confidential. I'm not going to get into the technology other than to say that it is all HIPAA compliant, and these encounters with doctors are conducted in a very private and secure and confidential manner. These are some of our clients. These are people that we have contracts with. MD Live now has over 1 million members under the MD Live program. It has all been done, 100% of it has been done, and that platform will change at some point in time, but for the moment, this has all been done through corporate America contracts as well as health insurance companies. And so as you can see from this very impressive list of customers, whether it be Qualcomm, which is one of our bigger clients based down in San Diego, to Health Net, Humana, Cigna, we've contracted with these health insurance companies for the purpose of providing access to a doctor via the internet in a secure and less affordable type of fashion. I want to spend a little bit of time on this slide because it's important if you're looking to market for MD Live. Our company was contracted to market to the smaller employer groups. That means employer groups of preferably at least 100 up to 5,000. Now they have contracted, as you can see from the groups in the screen. These are all large Fortune 100 companies. These are not small companies. Matter of fact, we did a health fair. My son and I, Matt, did a health fair 2 weeks ago in San Diego for a group called Intuit. You might know them. They're a software company, one of the larger in the country. We did their San Diego office's health fair rather. And what the purpose of, we went to the health fair and all the employees were let out of their workstations at 12 noon till 2 o'clock, and they attended this health fair. And our role was to explain to them that Intuit is paying 100% of the costs for an employee to be able to, be in the MD Live network and be able to access a physician for something like a cough, cold, or a flu, a low acuity type of condition, in just within 15 minutes. You've got the flu, you need something for it, you go to the internet, you log online, username, password, you're in the system, within 15 minutes you're seeing a doctor, You have your prescription called into the pharmacy. You pick it up. You're done. Now, what does that do, and why would the employer, Intuit in this case, pay 100% of that cost? It's very simple. It keeps people at their workstation instead of spending 4 hours out to go to the emergency room or to see their primary care physician. They stay in their workstation, see the doctor right there at their computer or over the telephone. It saves them money because it drives down their health care costs by not sending somebody to the doctor that cost them $400 or $500 or $600 for pink eye when they could have had that diagnosed and treated via the internet. So very cost effective with regards to what those monthly numbers are for Intuit to pay that fee. Well worth it for them. Just the cost, or just the savings rather, of keeping their employee in their workstation is worth it. But in addition to that, it drives down their health care costs because they're not running off to the emergency room for something that can be treated via the internet. Now, I mentioned that our role is companies of 100, 5,000. Does that mean if you have a company that has 25,000 people in it, you can't go after that account? The answer is you can, but we have to have clearance to do that. I have to get authorization from the corporate office and say, I have a sales rep. He has a contact at Coca-Cola. Can he work that account? The answer would be yes or no based upon MD Live's already possibly making contact with that company. Having said that, I can tell you that the largest employer market in the United States is not the Fortune 100 companies that you're seeing on the screen right now. The largest market base is smaller companies, and nobody's marketing to those smaller companies except for our group. So that's the box that we've been asked to stay in, but it doesn't mean we can't go outside that box if we see something that we have a relationship with and it's cleared through the MD Live corporate office. Okay, network quality management. We have 3 different call centers. All employees of MD Live, nope, these are not subcontracted out to India or whatever. These are owned by MD Live. We have physicians that specialize in family practice, internal medicine, pediatrics, and emergency. These are all state licensed, board certified, and credentialed physicians. We adhere obviously to the highest quality standards. There's a background check and primary source of verification. We re-credential our doctors every 36 months. We have an average age or average experience of 15 years. There is double malpractice insurance. It's probably the number 2 or 3 question you will always get asked from an HR director. What's the malpractice insurance like this on this? What's it look like? It lists how it looks. There's a malpractice policy carried by the physician, and there's a malpractice policy carried by MD Live per encounter, which is digitally archived in our back office. So that's a question you get asked a lot. You can select your own doctor. If there's a particular doctor you want to see that's in our catalog of doctors, you can choose that doctor. We ask all of our doctors to give us at least 3 days a week, at least 2 hours a day, to make their calendars open to see patients. And we, of course, specialize in training and communication with diagnosing patients over the phone and through online video. If you don't know, if your client does not know what telemedicine is, it's essentially the ability to see a doctor over the internet for a low acuity type of condition. We're not intended to replace the emergency room or the primary care physician. Just some U.S. regulatory information if you don't know some of this. First of all, telehealth is huge. We actually, on our website, we have a link on there to President Obama a number of years ago during his State of the Union address mentioning telemedicine, recognizing that telemedicine is extremely important to our nation. If for no other reason, with the Affordable Care Act now in full effect, there's more people going to the doctors. Wait time to see doctors has gotten a lot longer. It's going to continue to get worse. And these types this type of technology can not only save money, but really is the future of healthcare. And this is just from an Executive Healthcare magazine. Just as email became a new way of interacting with other people that didn't replace all other forms of communication, such as phone calls or letters, eCare uses new technologies to create a new way of providing care that complements but does not replace all clinic visits. Well, whether it be your emergency room or your primary care physician, we're here to complement that, not replace it. Public policy is highly in favor of telemedicine as it's viewed as a mechanism to relieve some of the stresses of an overburdened healthcare industry. I mentioned that already. It's an affordable way to improve access care despite a severe and growing shortage of primary care physicians. That's true. We're having less and less doctors that enter the field become primary care physicians for a whole bunch of reasons. 21 state governments now and growing now mandate some form of private payer reimbursement for telehealth services. That's fluid, so that's going to depend upon the state and the situation. with that particular company's health insurance policy. Oklahoma's medical board now just recently joined New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, in referencing ATA's telemedicine guidelines. No longer requires an in-person relationship with a patient prior to using telemedicine. In some of those states prior to this, it required you having a relationship with that physician before you could see them on the internet. Now they've taken that away. And then state telemedicine regulations centered around licensing of physicians and electronic prescribing by providers via telehealth. I know to a lot of people, this is going to sound like something from Star Trek, but in the employer world today, they are very, very rapidly learning about telemedicine and the values that it can provide to their company. Telehealth is almost universally available. It's only not available in a few states, and even in those states, it is available through video and phone. So you can see the states here, the bulk of the country in the lighter red. Those are full services, video plus phone. In the darker red there, services are limited to just phone. These are some of the states that have not yet embraced the technology like the rest of the country has. But I think that the consensus is that those dominoes will slowly begin to fall as well. It's interesting. It's something like 67% of things that you go to see the emergency room doctor for, you can actually do on the internet. And if you think about it, I mean, I'll use myself as an example. Once a year, I'll get a cold. About every other year, that cold turns into a sinus infection. I spend $60 to pay my copay. I spend 2, 3, 4 days trying to get in to see the doctor. I spend a good hour to 2 hours in the doctor's office. These are common things: acne, allergy, bronchitis, cold, flu, fever, gout, headache, infection. You get the idea. Pediatric care, cold and flu, constipation, ear infection, fever, pink eye. You get the idea. Many things that you can go, that you can do at the primary care physician, you can do on the internet as well. Continuity of care. This is sort of how it looks. You know, after you've seen the doctor via the internet, and I would encourage you, if you're going to market for MD Live, to get with us. We'll give you a free live demo of what it actually looks like to log online and see the doctor, schedule your appointment, do all that stuff. But after you're done, the employee receives discharge instructions via patient portal and secure email. His personal health records are then updated with all the consultation information. And then number 3, the member's PCP receives consultation history and a SOAP note. Basically, the primary care physician is notified. I saw Charlie. He had pink eye. I prescribed this to him. That goes to your primary care physician so he knows of those conditions that you saw that doctor for. I'm not going to spend any time on this video technology. This gets into the techie stuff. Some people are really interested, well, how does this really all work? It's all HIPAA compliant. It's actually requires only a fraction of the bandwidth of Skype or WebEx or Polycom, Adobe, Cisco, etc. I'm going to talk about our app, our new cell phone app or mobile device app here in a few minutes. I'm not going to spend any more time on this, but if you really want to get into the technology, I can certainly spend more time with you and describe to you what the technology that goes into this. But I will tell you this much: MD Live was founded 7 years ago. They've got some of the more interesting people in the business world part of their team, including John Scully, ex-CEO of Apple and of Coca-Cola. He is on their board of directors. So they got a very interesting group of people there. There's some very brilliant minds. I'll talk to you about our company spokesperson here just in a couple slides. So 24/7 integrated health center, your on-site medical trained health center service call center. These are 100% healthcare industry focused, trained to express empathy in patients, answer member health questions, take personal health histories. This is essentially triage. When you call in, it's essentially the same thing as what you would get if you were into the emergency room. If you walk into the emergency room, they hand you a clipboard. It's the same sort of, this triage, same sort of thing. You call MD Live, they're going to take out their clipboard and say, tell me what's going on with you today. Tell me your condition. Then they're going to do triage. If they feel that it's something you need to see a doctor, a physician, that they will then connect you to that next available doctor. Or if they feel that this is a life-threatening condition or something that needs to be seen by a live doctor, they will tell you that as well. All these folks are multilingual, TDD enabled. These are our 3 call centers that you'd be calling into to be connected to visit with a doctor. A new approach to therapy, and I get asked this all the time, especially in regards to what's happened in the last 2 years in places like Sandy Hook and the school shootings that we've seen, and the mental care piece in American culture is becoming farther or closer to the forefront of people's minds, especially in an HR environment where they're constantly concerned about the mental health of their employees. And so we do have private consultations with licensed therapists. These are for behavioral health conditions, as I said, things like relationship and family issues, stresses, child behavior, parenting, counseling services, just problems at work, coping with illness, financial problems, marital problems, coping with loss and grief. So we do have behavioral health therapists, licensed therapists available. It does come at an additional cost. I'm not going to get into costs on today's recorded call. I would certainly talk to you about that. But these are all very affordable numbers for not just the patient, but also for the employer group should they choose to pay some of these costs and relating to a mental health, behavioral health type of situation. So I mentioned our app. I mentioned the health fair that Matt and I went to a few weeks ago down in San Diego. I'll tell you that the coolest thing about this show was we had a bunch of brochures that looked almost exactly like this, by the way. It was about the mobile care app, how you can just download it to your mobile device. Interesting into it, as you probably would appreciate, is a younger population. I'd say the population of employees there was probably 30. Yeah, you had some accountants that were 50, 55, but boy, the bulk of the people there were kids. You know, they were in their 20s and 30s. Really neat work environment. But the point is that they totally got this. I mean, it just immediately is like they picked that thing up. Oh, I can download it to my phone. Yeah. So you guys are online August 1st. You guys can fire up your app, download it, put in all your information. You can actually see that doctor from that front-facing camera right in your cellular device. So really cool. They really embrace that. I can't tell you, when you market for MDLive, the one thing that you'll find is that there are very few things that you ever have marketed in your career, regardless of what you've done, at least it was in my career, that you have as much fun marketing because it's such a beneficial thing, not only to the employer group that in many cases pays for it, but also for the employees because they just so totally get the fact, anybody that understands technology say that, hey, this is not only kind of a cool thing, but it's going to save me money. It's going to keep me out of the emergency room for something stupid that I can do over the internet. It was so well embraced. But the MDLive app gives you access to online care at home or work or on the go, telehealth in the palm of your hand, engage with providers from iPhone, iPad, Windows, mobile, and Android. So it applies to most all technology. So you can schedule your appointments. You can get your complete medical history from here. You can send and receive secure emails. Doctor, I've got a sore throat. I think I got a little bit of a fever. You can do that right over your mobile app. Access to lab tests and medical files. So all of that now with the MDLive app can be put right onto your mobile device. You can have that telehealth, again, right at the palm of your hands. Okay, for those who didn't know, Dr. Travis Stork from the Doctors is our emergency medicine, he is our chairman of MDLive's Medical Advisory Board. He's also one of our company spokespersons. Yep, I had a big poster of him at our last event, life-size poster sitting right behind our booth at the health fair. And, of course, all the women walked up and said, can I see him? And I said, well, I don't think so. But pretty cool, though. Dr. Stork is on part of our team. Again, he's our chairman of our Medical Advisory Board. He is one of our corporate spokespeople. If you Google Dr. Travis Stork, he'll talk a lot about telehealth, about MDLive, why he's with MDLive. Not just for now, but for a long period of time in the future. So when I mentioned that we have some pretty powerful people in the medical field, we do 2,000 plus doctors, but also people like Travis Stork are promoting our product, which it doesn't hurt from a marketing perspective. Okay, so MDLive is not a company that signs up one of these employer groups and says, have a nice day, hope it works out. Just to give you an example of how it works, I'm going to give you sort of the order in which you would go about marketing to a customer. The first thing that you would do is obviously you would contact a decision maker within the company structure. I have found HR directors are typically the ones to talk to. However, in smaller groups under 200-300, in some cases, not all, but you won't have an HR director. You have a VP or a general manager that you would interface with. And I typically just market by just calling people on the phone, just saying, hey, my name is Charlie. I'm with MDLive. We're the world's largest telemedicine company. If you don't know what that is, it's the ability to give your employees, being able to give your employees the ability to log online and see a doctor for the purpose of a cough, cold, or flu, a low acuity type of condition. We can save you money. We can address things like presenteeism and absenteeism, keeping people in the workplace at a very, very low monthly cost. And that's how I begin the conversation. Then I would go into a webinar like the one I'm showing you now to talk more in depth about how it all works. We can give proposals based upon what their health insurance plan looks like. It's important that you know that. Are they self-insured? Are they fully insured? You need to get information about the group. Typically, I tell people, if you want me to do a webinar for you, no problem. You can get on my calendar any day. I'm glad to do this for you. but there's a couple things I want to know. Are they fully insured? Are they self-insured? If they're self-insured, or fully insured rather, what's their insurance policy? What's their insurance? Just give me a snapshot of what their insurance policy looks like. And the second thing I ask is find out how large their company is, so I have some sort of a semblance or sense of what their needs may be. And then anything else you can tell me that maybe that your point of contact mentioned to you. Yeah, you're going to do a demo for our entire HR team, whatever it might be. But so that's how you, and then the next step from there is simply going into negotiating a contract, and that's really the easy and even the fun part. It's not difficult, doesn't take a lot of time. It typically takes 30 to 90 days to get someone online, depending upon what corporate clients are coming online at that particular time of the month. For example, if we have a huge company coming online, it may be 60 days to get them online. Intuit, for example, we were down there 2 weeks ago, so what was that, beginning of June, and they weren't online until August 1st. So the next thing we do is we work with the HR team. It's critically important that if the employees don't know what we do, then they can't best utilize the service. And so what we do is we're not just a leave a brochure on a desk type of company. We're going to do things like, first of all, the welcome kit. They will get charged for a welcome kit. It's $5 per employee. But that means they're going to get a kit sent to their house. It's going to have everything in it from their card, like the little MD Live card you see down here. I was actually in a pizza place not long ago, if you can see that right there. I was in a pizza place with my family not long ago, and I was talking to some people next to me, me and my wife, my kids, and we got to talking to the lady. She's a contractor for Qualcomm, and I said, "Wow, I work with MD Live. You've got our." We did. I got something in the mail, but she pulled out her little card. She showed me her little card, and I explained to her how she should use it and how she can benefit from it. It was really kind of neat. But we try really hard to describe to people what we do and how we do it. So walls in the lunchroom, or excuse me, posters on walls in the lunchroom. The welcome kit's critically important. Emails will be sent. Text messages will be sent. We really work to market to the individual employee. Why? Because if they use it and they benefit from it, the company will benefit from it. So it's critically important that we communicate through the HR staff on what we're doing. Again, to reference the show we did, we were asked to talk. They put our booth at the mouth of the show. There was probably 30 or 40 booths. Me and Matt were right at the very front, and the HR director told me, she said, we need you to talk to every person that walks through here. And so we'd have some groups of 1, we'd have some groups of 15, but we had to go through the whole pitch. This is what we do. This is how we do it. It's important that you understand how it benefits you and the company. And people would actually ask it. They would say, well, they're paying for it? Why? Why would they pay for this? Because it keeps you at work. It keeps you out of the emergency room. And if they can go back to their health insurance company next year and say, we lowered our costs down because people didn't go to the doctor as much, because for a low monthly fee, we were driving people to the telemedicine platform, it saves them money. So there's a world of benefit, not just for the employee, but also from the employer as well. 6 points of differentiation. I won't get too much into this. It's just some of the things that we do. We have, as I said, 2,300 board-certified physicians and licensed therapists. We have the largest provider network in the world. We are designed for individuals with chronic conditions. We make it easier for employees to manage their health. We offer first-of-a-kind behavioral telehealth network. I talked about that. MD Live offers 24/7 access with multilingual medical technicians. We offer a flexible platform that allows for sharing of data amongst different groups. In other words, if you see an MD Live doctor, we will send that to your primary care physician. And the cloud-based video telephony, which I didn't get into, the technology piece, which eliminates new infrastructure or video servers. We're offering instant messaging and streaming video on a peer-to-peer basis. Just some of the highlights of what we do. Now, it's typically at this time that I would do a demonstration for the HR director. So I would then typically hand the controls over to Matt. Matt would then take them into the back office. He would show them exactly how to get in, whether it be on their mobile device or whether it be on a desktop computer or a telephone, if they're comfortable with the telephone. Just to give you an idea about that, if the age of the population in an employer group is over 40, the bulk of the people that see the doctor will do it over the phone. If the bulk of the population is under 40, the bulk of the population will visit the doctor on the internet or via their mobile device. And that's simple to figure out. The older folks, I'm 54 years old. For me, well, that's not true. I use it over the internet. I'm not afraid of it. But some people are. I actually had one person that walked up to me at Telfair, not that one, but another one we did recently, and she said, I don't trust anything internet. So I don't know if I can trust them. I'm like, okay, I get that. There's going to be some people like that. But for most younger people in particular, they're not going to have any issue with calling up Dr. Stork on their mobile device with their front-facing camera and saying, I got a cold, I need a Z-Pak, or I need an antibiotic, or I need something for a rash or my ear infection. What can you do for me? So, but I would give a demonstration now. So when we do these with employer groups, we would then show them what it looks like, and it's pretty neat stuff. It's extremely intuitive. It's very user-friendly. It's not scary stuff at all. But that's how what you just saw is what I do for an employer group, and what I'm willing to do for you is I've told all the people I work with, all I have to know is the day and time, at least 3 days in advance, that you wish to do an online presentation, and I can do that for your point of contact. So with that, again, my name is Charlie Castro, Director of Business Development with MD Live. I will give out my phone number if you'd like to call me, 714-312-0900, 714-312-0900. So I want to thank you for attending today, and I'm sure you've got plenty of questions, so I look forward to talking to you sometime.